Hello, my name is Jose Lopez, and I'm here with Brooke Avedon, Ann Borsma, Gabriela Diz, Catherine Jones, and Marta Sanchez Del Junk, and we are Team 7. We're going to be talking about the campaign Coca-Cola did with the Peruvian government called Happy ID. Now, why Peru, and why Coca-Cola, and why together? Well, let me read you Coca-Cola's mission statement first. Their statement goes as, refresh the world of mind, body, and spirit to inspire moments of optimism and happiness through our brands and actions, and to create value and make a difference. Now, what difference does it need to be doing in Peru? Well, unfortunately, Peru ranked as 65th in the happiness index in the world. Now, why 65th, even though Peru has one of the highest growing economies? Well, unfortunately, that is the truth, and Coca-Cola wanted to make a difference. So what they did was paired with the Peruvian government and placed photo booths in the cities. Now, why photo booths? Well, the Peruvian citizens need to carry an identification card. Now, to make this a pairing worthwhile, Coca-Cola threw in some incentives as well as the government. When you did the IDs with Coca-Cola, the government will then issue discounts that you can get at certain areas. So, what's another incentive? They offered a free Coke with every picture you took. However, you had to smile during the picture. Now, this got people going, and the percentage of people smiling in their IDs increased significantly, a number that will be discussed further in the presentation. Now, throughout the presentation, we're going to discuss the SWOT analysis of the campaign, our thoughts, things we would have changed, and what we think that future campaigns need to make it necessary and worthwhile for the rest of the world to catch on. So stay tuned, and we look forward to expressing no way.
Okay, go. Hi, my name is Annie. I'll be doing the situation analysis. So Peru was ranked 65th in the world on the happiness index, and it was also the unhappiest country in South America. And so Coca-Cola saw this as an opportunity, and in their mission statement, it's to refresh the world in mind, body, and spirit, to inspire moments of optimism and happiness through our brands and actions, and to create value and make a difference. So Coca-Cola saw Peru being an unhappy country to make them happy through their brand, and they created a campaign called the Happy ID, and basically the campaign was photo booths set up where people in Peru could go and take their ID photos, and the booth was required to have a smile in order to work. So by them going into the booths, they had to smile for their national ID cards. People would receive a Coca-Cola if they smiled in their photo, and were also eligible to receive discounts on certain items when they showed their smiling ID photo. Peru was the last country in South America to gain its independence from Spain in 1821, and they're a very traditional culture and hold traditions from their Spanish background as well as their native country. They have the fastest growing economy in Latin America, and there is a disconnect of people knowing the indigenous languages in the country, which creates a problem in their media landscape and their communication as a country. They are considered a democratic republic and have a multi-party system similar to us. They are a high context culture, so they don't always mean what they say, which is opposite from us. Body language and context is a big part of their communication. They score very low in masculinity, so they're more of a feminine culture, which means they place high value on family and personal connections. They also score very low in individualism, which means that they are much more collectivist, so they focus more on we than I. And they have a very high uncertainty avoidance, so they really need rules and regulations in order to feel comfortable. Their CPI score, so their corruption perceptions index, is 37, and they're ranked 96th in the world out of 180 in terms of corruption. So they're kind of at an average for the world, but they're more corrupt than a lot of nations.
Hi, I'm Catherine, and I'll be doing the overview of the campaign. The Coca-Cola Happy ID campaign theme centered around an evaluation of the Worldwide Happiness Index in which Peru was ranked as one of the lowest on the list of countries despite its growing economy. This catalyzed the advertising program with the vision of improving the happiness index of the people of Peru by encouraging them to smile in their photo identification pictures. The tagline or main theme of this campaign was to weave happiness into the country's national identity and spread happiness all over the region. Key messages of this campaign include the power of spreading joy, just in general. This campaign focused on imbuing the impact of positivity, and by exemplifying how encouraging a simple symbolic gesture of a smile in a mundane task could change an individual's mood and eventually spread to a positive transformation of everyday human interaction in an entire society. The broad goal of the project was to make a positive impact across the population of Peru by encouraging people to smile. Lisandra Freites, Coca-Cola's Transandine Franchise Unit Marketing Director, states that the programs seek to increase the happiness of Peruvians because it is part of our business philosophy and mission, as well as our daily efforts to positively contribute to the country by conveying and inspiring joy, optimism, and happiness. Underlying motive of the campaign was also to increase brand awareness of the Coca-Cola brand in an international market, and it sought out to engage consumer attention, instigate consumer interaction with the brand, and promote sales. The main objective of this campaign was to improve Peru's ranking on the Worldwide Happiness Index. Strategies they used were to install 30 free Coca-Cola branded photo booths for Peruvians, which only took identification photos if the person smiled. These were set up in strategic regions across the country next to RENIEC, which is the National Identity Registry. Also, if they smiled in their ID photo, they received a free Coke. Coca-Cola partnered with the National ID Registration Office in Peru to raise awareness that citizens can smile in their identification cards, a fact that they did not know prior to this campaign. Through this integrated communication, the ID cards that were considered happy doubled as reward cards for discounts with local markets and businesses. Some of the tactics Coca-Cola used in this campaign were centered around the paid, owned, and earned media, as well as the integrated communication efforts that Coca-Cola did. So the paid media for this campaign was centered around setting up billboards and advertisements on television, and earned media was primarily covering the digital proliferation of news stories, television news coverage, blog posts, and social media. Owned media consisted of promoting the campaign on the Coca-Cola-owned social media and YouTube. And another tactic that was used was having the Happy ID double as the reward card. In this situation, the identification card had the capability of providing citizens discounts in these private markets, as I aforementioned. According to Coca-Cola, 90% of these government-issued IDs in the first month of the campaign were Happy IDs. Other than this statistic, Coca-Cola did not have any other analysis of this campaign or the evaluation or outcomes. In this way, we believe their objectives were not as measurable as they should have been.
Hi, my name is Gabriela, and I'm going to be going over the audience for this campaign. So the primary audience were Peruvian citizens 17 years and up. To get an ID in Peru, you have to be 18 years or older, but they start preparing for the process when they're 17 years old. Also, because of the location of the 30 photo booth machines, it's for people who live around metropolitan areas because it was also around commercial areas like malls and things like that. So that's why that's the primary audience. And next slide. So then the secondary audience are countries that are scoring low on the happiness index. Here I have a graph of 2017 where the other countries are scoring, and right above Peru is Paraguay, and then there's some other countries around there like Libya and things like that. So those would be like the next steps. If Coca-Cola were to expand this campaign, they would probably go to these countries that are scoring around, and they could also be inspired by this movement to take happier IDs or things like that. So I also thought that the secondary audience could also be people who see the campaign and notice that they're not smiling in their IDs. This could motivate them to go out and take their photos, to update that, and to keep up with the campaign. Okay. So the tertiary audience for this campaign are people who follow Coca-Cola on social media, consumers who keep up with the company. Here I have some of their social media stats today. On their Facebook, they have 12 million followers. Their Instagram has 2.5 million, and their Twitter has 3 million followers. So these are people who support Coca-Cola and all their campaigns and all the things that they do to help their community. And this could hopefully have inspired them to smile in their IDs and to make them think about how they represent themselves on their documents. Some channels that they used to reach their audiences were TV, radio, print media, local celebrity ambassadors, and something called out-of-home activities. These are things that we're going to talk about later in the PowerPoint. Brooke is going to mention, and it's like billboards and signs and things that you can have access to without having internet. And something else that we should mention is that because this campaign is made for such a large audience, literally anybody who's a citizen of Peru and has an ID, it was kind of hard to find how their psychographic tendencies played into this campaign, because it was made for such a large audience. It was also free, which meant that anybody can participate. And the most interesting part of how they carried out this campaign to these specific audiences is that they found the agency that they used, which was McCain, found it's in Lima, Peru, so they were able to use that agency to connect with the audience better, because they knew what it was like, the culture, and what would work for the people that were living there. And they also use the Peruvian government, which we're going to talk about later in this PowerPoint more in depth. They use the Peruvian government because these are legal documents. They had to kind of partner up to get all the statistics and to have access to the photos and to help them increase people who are getting their pictures taken. So they had to partner with the government, which is something that you don't really see in many campaigns, but Coca-Cola really played. And
Hi, my name is Brooke, and I'm going to be doing the implementation of messages and communication tools. So first off, the campaign was done by McCann Agency. They're based out of Lima, Peru. And some of the tactics they used included special discounts in restaurants and exclusive promos just by showing the Happy ID. So after people went in to take their photo in the Coca-Cola photo booth, they were offered special discounts that Coca-Cola provided to them. Other tactics included deals with specialized photography stores. So 1 smile for the ID photo equals 1 free Coca-Cola. And then during the campaign, the McCann Agency created their own temporary website, dnifelice.com, which translates to Happy ID. It's where people with the Happy ID, when they're smiling in their ID, it is registered with coca-cola.com to uncover happiness and receive benefits with Coca-Cola. One of the biggest tactics that McCann made sure they had was that using the government as a channel. So anyone who has an ID has to go through the government. So basically the government enabled them and everyone, if they either didn't have an ID before, they could get one now, and then they could smile in it to make sure that the happiness was uncovered. So next, the use of messages. So the free photo booth was created specifically by Coca-Cola and McCann together. They used this booth which detected someone's smile, so based off their muscles in their face to see if they could show teeth. If they showed teeth, it was extra points. If they didn't show teeth, it wasn't as much. So the angry ID means they would not participate, so it was about 5 points. Sad ID was I would not participate, but might have an exception, 10 points. The neutral ID, maybe I would participate, but 15 points. The smiling ID means smiling but no teeth. Yes, I would participate, but with an exception, so 20 points. And the happy ID, which was yes, I would participate. So that means that if you're smiling in your picture, you get a free Coca-Cola. Okay, and then some more implementation that was used by McCann. So during the campaign that happened, they
made a plan to get a bunch of billboards out around the city of Lima, Peru. They had vending machines so that people could use their ID cards if they were smiling in it to get their free Coke. They had their temporary online website, which isn't online this year, but it was online for a few months in 2013. And then they also had a few commercials, as well as some celebrity local people from Peru who did TV spots and commercials, just kind of being an ambassador for the campaign and making sure that people really got out, used their ID, and the whole happiness aspect was covered. And then also social media, there were, again, very limited amounts of social media that was used because they were temporary. Peru Coca-Cola didn't start their actual social media on Twitter or on Instagram until about 2015 or 2016. So the social media aspect of it, like Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, wasn't as large as the billboards, the TV, and the photo booths were to get people to actually physically come out to get their ID. So now going over earn, paid, and own media. So after the campaign ended, about a year later, they were nominated for a bunch of awards. The Happy ID campaign also won the Golden Effie Award, which is the most important local advertising prize in Peru. They also won the Grand Prix and a Gold Award in the media category at El Sol Festival of Bilbao, Spain. And lastly, they won the Cannes Lions, which is a really respectable award that they won for the Creative Marketer of the Year. So for the paid media, just like I was saying before, they paid for the billboards, they paid for the local celebrity ambassadors, they paid for their temporary website, and they also paid for TV spots. And then own media, again, as I said before, they had the temporary social media, which is no longer on the internet as of today. But at the time, they did have a few Instagram through the Peru Coca-Cola. And then they had a Twitter at the time, but now it is not there anymore. Okay, and lastly, I'm gonna go over the circuit of culture. So the campaign had a few things to do with how culture was implemented with the Happy ID. So first off, representation. So the campaign helped to boost South American nations' morale and happiness index score. This represents the campaign represents the country as a whole. So now that these people have these smiling IDs, they can now come out and say that they're a happier nation. For identity, the target publics, who was anyone who lives in Peru who had an ID, people who did not smile on the ID are now more inclined to because of the Coca-Cola reward system. For production, the design of the photo booth gave meaning to the importance of happiness in consumers who drink Coca-Cola. So even if they didn't drink Coca-Cola before, this means that they have an incentive to go drink Coca-Cola and actually show their smile when they can. And then consumption, it undertook a great mood transformation while also implementing a reward system through Coca-Cola. This got people to go out of home, see it digitally, and create an ambient media. And lastly, regulation. So government, again, like I said, played a huge role in this campaign. The government reinforced the campaign, and it brought together the concept that was family friendly and overall just rewarding for the country's happiness index level.
Hi, my name is Marta, and I'm going to be going over the analysis, reactions, critiques, and suggestions of the project. So overall, we believe that Peru's Happy ID campaign was successful in accomplishing its mission to integrate happiness into the country's national identity. As seen through the first month of the campaign, 90% of Peruvians smiled in their government-issued IDs. By implementing a campaign that focuses on something as simple as a smile on an identification photo, Coca-Cola is taking a small steps towards improving the overall prosperity of a developing nation. Our initial reaction to this campaign was amusement, mainly because it is focused on fixing a national concern in an unconventional way. By targeting the residents' happiness, the Happy ID campaign also managed to achieve a positive reaction from the public, as seen through the 1.3 million impressions on social media and an increase in smiling of identification photos. Next slide. While this campaign was an overall success and a positive impact on social media, There were a few aspects of the campaign where there was definite room for improvement. Our initial skepticism was that this campaign seems to be basing happiness off of a photo ID. For someone who is hearing of this campaign for the first time, it might not be completely obvious that the information is based off of a national happiness index. And elaborating on this topic, we believe that the people of Peru might think that personal happiness isn't directly correlated to something as simple as an identification photo. Additionally, we were looking into the demographic information and realized that there is no concrete way of incorporating psychographic information to evaluate the success of this campaign. Measuring happiness is a very broad topic that is affected by infinite factors. For that reason, the measures of success of this campaign in terms of measuring emotions are very variable and open to interpretation. Lastly, the US government placed a no-grin federal policy back in 2005 to ensure that photo identifications were expressionless to make sure that they were legible by face recognition software. Potentially, this campaign could lead to a Peruvian resident taking a smiling photo and then facing complications if they decide to travel to the US or outside of their home country. Next slide. Suggestions and recommendations for the future of this campaign. So while the benefits of this campaign and the future recommendations certainly outweigh the critiques, to make the Happy ID campaign even better, we believe that it would be beneficial to follow up with the campaign's success for the next 2 years to see if people will continue smiling in their IDs, and to see if Peru has moved up in the happiness index. This campaign was initially very successful in Peru, and it has the potential of making an even greater impact on other countries that scored low on the happiness index. Since the campaign has already been implemented once, Coca-Cola can learn from its successes and failures to implement an even better, more refined version of the Happiness ID campaign in another country. By doing this, Coca-Cola can compare the outcomes and measures of success to find any correlations between the campaigns and their home countries.
Alrighty, to conclude for our project, the campaign was all about increasing the happiness of Peruvians since they ranked 65th in the entire world. To do so, they placed photo booths in different parts of Peru where citizens can go take their photo ID, which was mandatory, and in doing so, they got a free Coca-Cola and incentives for discounts throughout the different stores and everything. However, in order to do so, they had to smile for their pictures. Now, at the beginning, no one smiled in any of their IDs. However, at the end of the campaign, they had a 90% increase of smiles on all IDs. So, Coca-Cola was successful in increasing the happiness of those in Peru and spreading the idea and the campaign throughout the social media since they have such a large hold on all social media platforms. Now, our thoughts as a team, there may have been a misconception on the goals. Unfortunately, was it just to increase the happiness or the smiles on IDs? Or was it really to increase the happiness of the citizens? And how far did the happiness really go? And there was kind of a lack of means to measure the campaign. Without any real way to measure, we weren't sure how far, how wide, and how deep the actual campaign held within the Peruvian society. Another complication was complications with travel. How far can it really go? How far will it really reach? And can it be implemented in other countries? Now, for future campaigns, we think they should do a follow-up. Do a 2-year follow-up. Did the happiness really increase in Peru, or was it just because they were happy about the Coca-Colas and the discounts given at the time? Now, why not try locating to a different country, seeing if they'll have the same effect using the same methods in a city that also has a low happiness rating? And then compare those findings. So that way, other companies can do the same, and possibly other countries can increase the happiness so not all countries have to rank low like Peru did at 65th. So, in conclusion, we want to thank you so much for watching our video and our slideshow. I hope that you were able to grasp the idea behind this campaign and see the light in it that we did. Thank you so much. Have a good day.